If something is important enough, even if the odds are against you, you should still do it. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. For me, it was never about money, but solving problems for the future of humanity. Really, the only thing that makes sense is to strive for greater collective enlightenment. Patience is a virtue, and I'm learning patience. It's a tough lesson. The first step is to establish that something is possible, then, probability will occur. Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. Life is too short for long-term grudges. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. You have to be pretty driven to make it happen. Otherwise, you will just make yourself miserable. I think it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. It is important that people look forward to coming to work in the morning and enjoy working. Physics is a good framework for thinking. Boil things down to their fundamental truths and reason up from there. Starting and growing a business is as much about the innovation, drive and determination of the people who do it as it is about the product they sell. I came to the conclusion that we should aspire to increase the scope and scale of human consciousness in order to better understand what questions to ask. Really, the only thing that makes sense is to strive for greater collective enlightenment. Be ahead, other times it will be behind. But brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will, simply a collective impression some have about a product. You want to be extra rigorous about making the best possible thing you can. Find everything that's wrong with it, and fix it. Seek negative feedback, particularly from friends. My motivation for all my companies has been to be involved in something that I thought would have a significant impact on the world. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. When I was in college, I wanted to be involved in things that would change the world. Now I am. I wouldn't say I have a lack of fear. In fact, I'd like my fear emotion to be less, because it's very distracting and fries my nervous system. The idea of lying on a beach as my main thing just sounds like the worst. It sounds horrible to me. I would go bonkers. I would have to be on serious drugs. I'd be super duper bored. I like high intensity. My biggest mistake is probably weighing too much on someone's talent and not someone's personality. I think it matters whether someone has a good heart. Going from PayPal, I thought, well, what are some of the other problems that are likely to most affect the future of humanity? Not from the perspective, what's the best way to make money? You shouldn't do things differently just because they're different. They need to be better. If you go back a few hundred years, what we take for granted today would seem like magic, being able to talk to people over long distances, to transmit images, flying, accessing vast amounts of data, like an oracle. These are all things that would have been considered magic a few hundred years ago. I always have optimism, but I'm realistic. It was not with the expectation of great success that I started Tesla or SpaceX. It's just that I thought they were important enough to do anyway. Why do you want to live? What's the point? What inspires you? What do you love about the future? And if the future's not including being out there among the stars and being a multi-planet species, it's incredibly depressing if that's not the future we're going to have. I think life on Earth must be about more than just solving problems. It's got to be something inspiring, even if it is vicarious. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. I'm interested in things that change the world, or that affect the future, in wondrous, new technology where you see it, and you're like, wow, how did that even happen? How is that possible? Don't delude yourself into thinking something's working when it's not, or you're gonna get fixated on a bad solution. If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. I usually describe myself as an engineer. That's basically what I've been doing since I was a kid. Man has the power to act as his own destroyer, and that is the way he has acted through most of his history. Thanks for watching my channel Inspirational Quotes. Don't forget like the video, subscribe the video, share this to your friends.